So they say the world is full of good people. If you cannot find any, then better be one. Devance Empire. My name is Devance and this is Devance Empire. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell to always be the first one to receive an alert every time we post our videos. In our video today, I'm gonna share with you a story about how I ended up in an orphanage. Yes, in a past video, I shared with you how life turned from grace to grass for us. When our father died, everything crumbled down. My father was the breadwinner in our family. He was the main provider. He provided everything that we ever wanted. But after his death, life took a different turn. So we had to start life afresh, again from down, coming up again, which is not an easy step. Actually, building wealth is quite difficult, but crushing it only takes seconds. So here I was, staying with my aunt who adopted me, and we were staying in Nairobi, but for a very long time I wasn't comfortable at that place. In the year 2003, I got the opportunity to meet my mother, biological mother, once again. She came to Nairobi at a period when I was nursing some of the wounds that I had gotten from beatings that I had received from the family I used to stay with. It was a tough moment for me because I couldn't even walk. I was in a situation where I couldn't even walk. I would be taken out, laid on a mattress to actually get some sunlight, and later in the day be returned back in the house. It was a tough time for me, and I think I've shared a story of what happened in a previous video, and maybe I'll pin it up here for you to actually have a chance to also know what happened. Why do I have the scars on my back? Actually, I got them on that particular day when things were not so good where I used to stay. My mother took me to another aunt of mine who is a doctor. She treated me for some time, and after I was well, she took me back to my upcountry, Mfangano Island, where a school was being built to help needy and vulnerable people in our society. Back where I come from, in Mfangano Island, the days when I got into that island, it was a place or a land where people always knew nothing good will come out from that place. It was a place that was compared or was described with all sort of bad reasons. It was a place where they said thieves stayed, prostitution took place, murder and witchcraft was in the rise. So many families came to an end because of witchcraft, because of diseases, because of very many things. So God placed a burden in the heart of one family called Martha, Naphtali and Nerea Martha. Alituma wajumbe wake kutoka mbali, wakaja na vikapu vya. These people sat down, and after a very long time, they resigned from their jobs that they were doing to come back home and open up a school where they would be able to help the vulnerable people, most particularly children of our society. In the past many years, HIV and AIDS was actually killing very many people in our island. People were not even aware of HIV and AIDS by then. People mistook HIV and AIDS for a bad omen. They would say if they saw somebody fall sick, grow thin and die, they would say that person was actually being punished for committing an offense. That person was actually considered as a curse. It was a tough moment. People avoided them. People didn't like them at all. In fact, in the Luo language, they say they were dying because of something we call chira. Chira in English is bad omen. So they would say it was a price they were paying for doing something wrong. So it was a difficult time. Many fathers, many mothers died at that time, leaving most of their children parentless. Many children grew up without parents. Others who ended up growing up with their old parents, which wasn't an easy situation. Many children dropped out of school to start fishing, because fishing is the main economic activity in Fangano Island. So many people started fishing. Many people dropped out of school. Girls ended up getting into early marriages, and even some children ended up contracting HIV and AIDS unknowingly, because very few people had information about this disease that was actually consuming people. And HIV and AIDS can be contracted. By then, HIV and AIDS can be contracted in many ways. Sexual intercourse, through body piercings, through blood transfusion, and through mother to child transmission. But in the long days, the past days, the main way HIV and AIDS was being spread was through sexual transmission and also mother to child transmission. The rate of transmission by then was too high, until when Naftali Mata, together with the wife Nerea Mata, came up with this orphanage school to help these vulnerable children who were orphaned because of HIV and AIDS, and also those families that could not just help themselves because of poverty. When they came up with this vision, at first it was one of the worst ideas in the society, because my village, by then people did not appreciate other people's effort. So they associated the opening of this orphanage to devil worship. They used to say that Naftali Mata, together with the wife, have joined devil worship, and now that is why they have a lot of money. They want to open an orphanage where they can sacrifice children to raise wealth for themselves. That was a mean statement from very many people, that by then, when they were starting this school, that was the only information that they will get from right, left, and everywhere. That people associated this school to devil worship. Very painful. But today I'm here to tell you that if it were not for that school, we couldn't be who we are today.
With Gethsemane Garden, life is what I always dreamt it to be, which brings hope where seemed to be no hope.
That school gave us hope. It was a school that showed us love for the first time. I joined Gethsemane not because my parents died of HIV or what and what. No, I joined Gethsemane because my father died very many years ago. My mother by that time didn't have a job that could sustain us. So she took me to the orphanage so that I could stay in the orphanage as she would look for a job to do to help raise food and maybe other things for easy survival. So I joined this orphanage that was officially opened on 20th January 2003, and I joined class 3. That was one of the happiest moments in my life, because for the first time I could move around, I could speak freely without any restrictions. I met other families, I met other children in this school who were also having different challenges. Some of the children who joined the school were total orphans. Their parents died. They never had the chance to see. Some never had the chance to meet their parents. Some of the children I saw were the only surviving people in their families, meaning everybody died. If you go to their homes, you'll find graveyards, everywhere graveyards. Nobody was left in their compounds except for them. Very sad. In the orphanage, we met people with different conditions. We had people, some of the children we learned with in the orphanage were actually sick. Some were HIV positive, some had ulcers, some were traumatized, some had mental diseases. People had different kind of diseases. Some were even anemic. We lost other children in the orphanage. May they rest in peace. That is to even include my best friend by then, Calvin Nyakia, who died after suffering and battling with ulcers. But one thing that I am grateful today is because of these good people's hearts, Naphtali and Nerea Mata. These are the people that in this video, I just want to appreciate them. That if it were not for them, I don't know what life could be for me. Gethsemane was a garden of hope to us, and particularly me. This is the school that taught me very many things, how to be responsible. And I'm glad that I am whoever I am, because this school gave me an opportunity to express or to know the true me. And I am glad. So life in this orphanage was good because we never lacked anything. We had sponsors, we had families. It was just like a home. We were a big family. It was a big home for over 300 students or pupils. We saw each other as brothers and sisters. We always wanted to see each other happy. We did not want to see other people cry, because at some times some children kept on crying because of the difficult situations, because of the painful memories that life brought to them unexpectedly. But we lived as brothers and sisters. We loved each other. We cared for each other. In Gethsemane, at no particular time did we ever go hungry without food. Even in the year 2007, when Kenya had their elections, during the post-election violence, when the whole country, people were fighting because of politics. Can you imagine when everything came to a standstill? Back in the orphanage, we still had food, we still had security, we had it all. We even had enough food to provide to even people in the society, people who threw stones at us, people who said that this school was a school that was opened because of devil worship. People who threw words, bitter words to the owners of the school. People who looked at the students in the school and said these ones are devil worshippers. It came to a point when God humbled them and they came to ask for help in this school. That is how God can deal with enemies of people. They came. So we had it all. Some people think learning in an orphanage means that you only have to suffer, you have to go through a lot. No. In our case, it was different. We had it all. And God continued blessing and adding more life to the founders of Gethsemane Garden Christian Center, a garden of hope. And until next time, this is Devance Empire. End of discussion.
Unity, unity, unity is power.